Hi, I'd like to share some things that I have learned these past couple weeks about effective teaching. And I'm really excited because there were quite a lot of theories that were pretty interesting. The component theory is what I'll start with first. And I just loved how it that its main goal with this theory was how to nurture the developing child. And it talked about using stories that teach the principles, helping the learners take the principles home, finding structural balance, mixing elements of instruction, activating existing knowledge, applying new knowledge, and engaging an audience. And one of the things that I wanted to incorporate from one of my other classes was from my communications class that's teaching us how to give lectures. And it said to start out by using an attention grabber, and by using an attention grabber, you could be able to help audiences understand where you're coming from and kind of be engaged immediately and listen to what you have to teach about. The next theory that I really wanted to touch base on is the personality theory, where its main goal was to engage learners by reducing tension and minimizing their guilt and punishment. It had the consistency model, present two opposite truths, which I really enjoyed learning about. It gave two really good examples about how children generally want to do good, but then children also hit their siblings, and they're both truths, but it kind of gets the audience to start to think, okay, well, what is truth then? And I think that would be a great tool to use in our workshops. Also, underactive learners seek more stimulation, where overactive learners seek less stimulation. And then one thing that I really wanted to incorporate that I have learned from a past class is we'd watched this talk from Elder Bednar, and he said that he used to write motivational books and how to help people change. And he said that all of them are don't help, don't read them. He said, because honestly, what really changes people is from the heart. And you have to change them from inside out first. You can't start from the outside in. And he said that the world wants us to try to change people from the outside first. And I think that's great. I mean, we can look at Christ, and he definitely did not try to change people. He tried to teach them the correct principles and values, and then let them figure out on their own whether or not they wanted to change. Some solution-focused techniques were also mentioned throughout our studies, and I loved how they wanted us to emphasize positive statements, encourage participants to talk about themselves, note family interactions, emphasize happy time spent together, reframe negative statements and make them positive, emphasize what families do well. And I really love that part about how we need to reframe negative statements. I think if we dwell too much on negative statements, that we're going to bog people down. I know that I get bogged down pretty well if I just concentrate on the negative things that are happening in my life. But when I stay upbeat, stay positive, then and only then is when I can be able to lift others up. I also liked how it mentioned practical application, where we're going to have faster growth and learning. Teachers need to be empathetic, caring, authentic, and sincere, promote safety, openness, and trust, learner-centered approach, and promote student autonomy, participation, reflection, and collaboration. And I think what's really key here out of all of those is that teachers need to be empathetic and caring. If they're not empathetic and caring, then there's a problem. We're not going to be able to connect with our participants, and they're not going to feel like we're really there to teach them something important. I know that I heard this story about this group of college kids that went over to a different country to teach different people there about how to be better, a better family unit. And the only way that they were able to open up is by them asking to learn how to make tortillas. And once they asked to make tortillas, they went and learned, and they were able to spend time with them and to be able to really get on their level. And after that, the villagers opened up and they were able to come to their classes and actually learn and from what they had to teach them. And I think that that's key. If we're not there to be able to help them know that we're really there for them, our workshops are going to be meaningless. So I really liked the different methods that you could use for FLE. There's discussions that you can use, fishbowl, buzz groups, personal narratives, family councils / meetings, role-playing, educational videos, music, pictures, books, plays, short stories, comic strips. The list goes on and on and on. And I just loved that we had so many options that we could actually incorporate into our workshops. And I noticed already a couple of these that Priscilla and I are using in our own workshop, and I'm really excited to be able to use our educational videos and object lessons. And I'm really excited about one of the object lessons that we're using. We're actually using it from Parlor Gardener, where we're using our wedding rings and throwing it across the room, but really throwing a different object and kind of making people think, oh, how dare she just throw away her wedding ring? Does her marriage not mean anything? And kind of realize the symbols and how important that they are to us. Real quick, I'd like to touch on the second marital house theory. I studied the marriage and relationship education chapter, which was chapter 9. And they used this theory, and I was really excited to see that 3 main things that you need to include in your workshop, Priscilla and I had already incorporated into our workshop. It was about using love maps, where it's based on cognitive room for one spouse. I have couples identify things that they admire and appreciate about their spouses, and also to help couples learn to towards each other instead of away. And I'm really excited for our workshop and to be able to incorporate these things that I have learned these past couple of weeks into our workshop. Thank you so much for listening.